So I've been thinking a lot about platforms lately, particularly Zoom. I'm using Zoom all the time now for doing university work, talking to families. I was wondering if there's any possible fun alternatives to it. So I've started asking people, instead of calling me using video conferencing tools, like Zoom or Skype or Google Hangouts or whatever, if they could use the online virtual world Second Life to talk to me. So I've convinced my oldest friend, Peter Racher, to download the program and join me in a chat about it.
There was quite a lot of public attention about it when it first arrived.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a big deal for a very long time, wasn't it?
It did seem to be. People were thinking that, there were going to be people just sitting at home, living their whole life on Second Life. And computer games did that instead, like actual computer games.
It's quite interesting because the person who's sort of the guy who got it going, who's still running it now, suggested that what he wanted was something which wasn't a computer game because there's no aim to it. It's just a platform, and then people make up their own aims.
You can make your own. I suppose Minecraft did that, didn't it?
Yeah. What I quite like about this platform is some of the things that people have made for you to do are just really. Like with Minecraft, I can understand why you would want to get some wood out of a tree, because you get wood out of the tree to make the better axe, to get better wood out of the tree, and so on. Yeah. Whereas what I quite like about this place is some of the things just have no function at all. So I can dance, but they've just put that in as a function. It doesn't do anything. There's no points for dancing. What I quite like is all the tasks in this are just the end of it. So I found a pair of bongos somewhere in this world, and so I literally I hit the play bongos button, and there he is playing virtual bongos. But there's no virtual bongo game. Someone's just taken the time to animate some bongo playing, and you get to see that animation. That's it. It's really, really funny.
So I can fly.
Oh, you're now flying. Yeah, forget jumping.
What the hell?
The flying is hilarious.
I'm a bit confused by this.
Hello? Oh, there he is. Do you reckon this is what death is like?
Okay.
Right.
I assume there's no death here.
No, there doesn't seem to be any death. You just wander around and interact with things. Yeah, so there's no risk of any sort.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's why I used to like old adventure games.
Yeah, because you just get to do creative stuff rather than horrible competitive stuff, right? It's pacifistic.
Yeah, no horrible competitive bits. No, I can't get any further if I'm not skilled enough to complete this bit.
It's really weird thinking of it as not being a game platform. I can't remember exactly what it was that he said, but he said something like it's not about gamification, it's about being a platform where you can do stuff. People don't make games like that, do they? It doesn't make sense to usually.
Well, I think it always has to have some kind of competitive element to it, doesn't it?
And I think there is. There's shops and there's dance floors and but yeah, I guess maybe just non-violent competition. I think from that time, the book
by the weirdness.
Yeah, it just comes in waves, isn't it? Suddenly being freaked out by the whole thing. It's just so funny because obviously they've got the mouth moving as well, so you're hearing your friends' voices coming out of these slightly different avatars.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even looked properly.
Oh yeah, can you see what you look like?
I can't see what I look like. I haven't messed around with the avatar at all. Who can I be? I don't want to be. There we go. I'll just be an old man.
You're an old man with no body at the moment. Oh, that's a good look.
Together.
That's a great look. Oh, you've got a little rose as well, which is very romantic.
I'm an old romantic.
Gosh, you look a little bit like Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh shit!
We're about to go to an island as well, so maybe that's just right. Maybe that's
go
perfect.
On a private plane.
I think you should leave it like that. I just thought this would be a really fun place just to have conversations and make little videos of those conversations.
It's weird. I mean, I'm still shocked at the real-time audio. It really is. It feels real-time.
Do you feel like you've been cheated?
I feel like I've been cheated by every other program in existence.
That's exactly the thing I want to hear, because in some ways I'm getting evangelical about this as a platform.
Well, it's so quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it might be partially due to the fact that this is just a one-on-one conversation. Okay.
It's actually a three-way conversation. I don't know if you've noticed, but somebody's come along and joined on, and I'm chatting to you whilst having a chat conversation with Abbie K on the left here, the lady with the raccoon
I
on
did
the shoulder.
notice that. That's what I was laughing at to start with, because she just turned up and stood next to us.
Yeah, hey Abbie, how's it doing?
This is weird. This is like real life, but people just stand next to you.
Yeah, it's really funny. I'd quite like to go and stand on the beach that I like.
Okay. So which direction is the beach?
So, if you look at your world map, it's one right and one down from the squares that we're on.
Okay, so Firestorm Marina.
Yeah, Firestorm Marina. So if we all try and get there, and then there's a little fire pit there, which just aesthetically I think would be a nice place to sit and chat. It sounds like Abbie K is going to join us as well, which is really exciting. So I'll race you there. If you get completely stuck, just send me a message over Facebook and I'll teleport you there. Right then, I'll see possibly both of you over at the island in a little bit. Good luck. Man, oh man. I'll just let you do your thing until the strangeness of the situation.
Okay. Oh no, I've lost my rotational
You've lost all
axis.
sense of up and down. I think one of the buttons there will reset you. You know.
Of everything now. Okay.
Pete,
Apparently not.
I'm really disturbed by your seating position at the moment. It looks like it's about 4 in the morning after some sort of house party.
Okay. Would you prefer me to? There we go. I'll just readjust.
Can you imagine using this instead of Facebook? This is my idea at the moment, that I'm going to remove myself from all platforms and say, look, if you want to talk to me, you can't phone me. You certainly can't come on my house right now.
Just use Second Life.
You have to come on Second Life and have a chat. I'll meet you.
I mean, I don't think it's that bad an idea. It's
partially just because the call quality is better. I've been doing Zoom calls like almost non-stop for the last week now. Everything. Like, I talk to my family like that. I do my uni work through it, and it's given me a headache. You know.
Certainly, the call quality is a lot better than standard telephone conversation.
Isn't it just? It's amazing. Yeah.
Less irritating.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're not holding something against your ear all the time. You get fatigued after a while.
Yeah, and there's also just something about seeing pixelated versions of people's living rooms all the time.
There's something weirdly kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost, I think, because there's almost like an outside aspect to it. A bizarre outside aspect to it. It's slightly less directly personal, and seems like you're not required to. Like, I was always trained for my whole life, because you had to pay a lot for phone calls, was everything should be concise and quick, and phone calls were for getting like important bits of information across very quickly.
Yeah, I love those old-fashioned phone call styles. They're great, aren't they? Hello, 54621. Hurry up! Is this costing you money?
Yeah,
It's great, isn't it?
it's like that for a long
State your
time.
business.
Yeah, it's weird. It is. It's like there's a sense of weird openness to it, despite the fact that it's obviously really enclosed. In truth, it's a bit strange. I'm absolutely amazed at the quality of the audio, though.
Yeah, that really does surprise me. And just like how much of your social media stuff is being done through like the act of typing, you know, which is a pretty good way of communicating. But we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy to get misunderstandings over text and stuff. And
ridiculously easy.
yeah.
I mean, it's like one sentence taken 7 different ways, depending on how people read it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think it's very important, and also it's much. There's a time delay when you're writing in text. When you're waiting for people, if you're having a conversation with people, it's text is back and forth in that way. Whereas with voice, it seems more personal for a start. When you can hear somebody's voice, it's almost like seeing the whites of their eyes. And I think it's much easier to correct yourself in real time, which is what you need to do to not have misunderstandings.
I feel so. I just feel like I've had so many low quality conversations, and I don't know if it's now because I've got the privilege of having some nice microphones here, so I'm able to do this now rather than with like a headset. I've just got like an SM57 plugged in. I feel like I can talk a lot more quietly. If I'm on a laptop doing a Zoom meeting, then I'm having to shout all the time. It's always like, "Oh hi, how are you doing?" It's all very kind of like high velocity, and I'm knackered halfway through.
I think that does seem to be the case with a lot of voice conference calls, things like that. But I think part of that is probably the number of people involved. Once you start getting sort of 7 or 8 people on a call, because people aren't muting themselves when they should do, kind of things. It gets very difficult to tell who should be speaking and when.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder if, this is like a nice solution to that in a way, because you can walk away from people and start thinking that Zoom is a bit like having your heads like gaffer taped together.
I can understand that. It would be like, what's better? I don't know. It's, I was going to compare it to just being in a meeting, but then, to be honest with you, it's not like being in a meeting, is it? Because you've got this weird, like single dynamic thing going on, haven't you? Where it's like it's either quiet or somebody's loud. There's no when you get a group of people in a room, people they fluctuate. They monitor the volume of their own voice when they speak.
Yeah, and I've got a little bit more control over this because I can sort of turn my head away from you, and I'm getting all this lovely stereo sort of volume panning and stuff off the mouse. And Abbie K pointed out as well that you can adjust other people's volume levels here as well, which is really nice.
You can adjust the people's volume levels.
Apparently so, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I can do it in a very old school way by just getting up and walking away from you as well.
It's quite nice having the ambient noise in the background as well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's why why this is the spot. There's a little bit of distant waves. You've got the fire. It's really sweet.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
It feels a bit weird for me being inside when I'm listening to those ambient noises. When I could be outside listening to those ambient noises.
Yeah. Abbie made a really interesting point there. She's saying that this used to be like a thing where people were like, come and do conferences in here all the time. But one of the problems of it was that people's computers just couldn't handle it. Whereas I'm assuming you could probably run this. You could probably run this on a phone now. I'm sure I had a bit of a look, and there's options.
Yeah.
For that. And even the rattiest of laptops these days would probably run this without a problem, wouldn't it? I see. You can do it on phone, but without the actual graphics. That kind of defeats the point in a way. I'm gonna try and convert as many people to Second Life as possible now.
I'm trying to think back to when this was released. If it was like 2003, 2004, sometime around then.
There we go. 2003, says Abbie. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't have been ready at the time. Not for like conference stuff, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, I'm assuming you couldn't have just because what really amazed me with this is I didn't have to set anything up to do that. I literally just hit the microphone button and then it worked.
It's been nice, just an easy, quite intuitive thing to pick up. I remember the publicity of it back years ago, because I remember quite a few musicians doing live concerts. I remember specifically like the lots of advertising for Ben Folds doing a concert on it.
Yeah. Is that still happening at the moment, Abbie? Are there still people coming in and doing music? Oh man, it's definitely something I want to give a go, I think. Yeah, the idea of doing gigs here seems really nice. Are there sort of worlds where that's happening then? Are people building worlds specifically for music making stuff? Oh man.
pretty cool, actually. That's it. This seems like quite a nice way to get almost like real-time feedback from doing a performance.
Well, I think that's the problem with all the other mediums for doing it, isn't it? Like, you always end up with like a big stage where somebody's doing something and nobody can do anything. Like Twitch seems to be where a lot of like not just music but performance stuff is happening now. But you can't really get involved in a very great way. I don't think a chat box is anywhere near the same as a stage in any real sense.
No, that's true. It's definitely not. The chat boxes, especially if you've got a large number of people involved in them as well, just run away with themselves to the point where they're impossible to keep up with.
Yeah. But also, like, there's an etiquette to how a chat room works as well, isn't there? And so suddenly, people who are good on the chat are able to have a conversation, but nobody else is.
So, I guess this is it for us from now on.
How do you
living
mean?
in a virtual world?
I suppose so, but for, like, I don't know, for the first time, I've looked over like the social media and gone, well, actually, so far, this is alright, isn't it? How is it that this feels like a step up, even though this is technology from the early 2000s? This feels like it's significantly better than the way that I've been on social media for the last 5 years. Do you know what I mean? So at this point in the conversation, our new friend Abbie K turned her microphone on and joined in with the conversation. Abbie works as a beginner's guide for Second Life, showing new users around and making sure people will behave properly in all the various different rooms with their different rules. I've decided not to include her conversation in this video because I didn't ask her permission. I thought it would be a bit rude to be sharing a conversation that we had online over YouTube. It's a shame I didn't get a chance to ask, really, because she knew absolutely loads about the history of Second Life, how people behave on it, how the various different sort of markets and things work, events and things, how trolls behave, and just painted this really fascinating portrait of this world within a world. At some point I really think I should get hold of her and have a chat about this world online and post it here, I think, because yeah, she had a really interesting insight, but not this time.
See you soon. It's a bit bizarre because like random people can just wander over and just start.
Well, wasn't that great? We just had somebody who gave us like a rundown of the history of Second Life.
We'll agree with that. Yeah, it was great,
Yeah.
and like lots of useful information of like how to use the interface and like search for things and find stuff. It's good.
It's generally like going into a park with all the risks and yeah.
It's very odd though, in the sense that I quite like it as an internet learning tool.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Because suddenly, like on forums and stuff, there's a disconnect, isn't there? Like because it's not in real time, and it's like you're not. I don't know. Like, but it doesn't seem as personal when you're talking to somebody. That it's almost like you can kid yourself into. I don't know, treating the internet like it's a completely safe, fun place to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I forget her name, or was it Anna Kay came over and had a chat with us? I was really intimidated because I'm suddenly talking to a stranger.
Yeah.
It was really weird for a while, you know. And you have to kind of like go, okay, well, I need to kind of chill out about this and make the most of the experience.
Yeah, it feels weird because it's just not an experience I'm used to. Like, obviously, you get used to that experience in real life, and it's exactly the same experience. But
well, Facebook was weird when we first started using it, wasn't it? You know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, meeting somebody on here, it should be no different, really, from just meeting somebody in real life, except, obviously, for the fact that, again, there is a slight disconnect in this because you're using an avatar. You're not really you.
I think when we met just now, it was like two toddlers meeting. Because what happened is we met and then like you threw your clothes off and then you laughed for a little bit and then we ran around for a little bit and then we sort of looked at the situation that we were in and then we started laughing again. Like it took like I feel like we've turned into like responsible teenagers now, sat here just chatting like grown-ups. But it took us about 15 minutes, didn't it?
I quite like that description. The first bit, you're quite right. It's just like
tumbling about, and laughing at our own stupidity, aren't we? Just staring at our hands like we've taken a lot of acid or something.
Well, even coming to sit down to go for a chat, you know, even like, oh, we're going to do the sensible bit now, and the first thing you do is sit down and then turn around until you're like got your face in the seat.
It's so funny, though, isn't it? It's really funny to do that.
It's just weird. It's very odd, and it's something that, like, in my mind, shouldn't be odd, because this is just voice communication with like a 3D rendering. Like, well, it should be no different from using any other form of communication, and yet because it's open to everybody in the way that it is, but there's no, like, obviously, I'm sure you can set up like boundaries and private places and stuff, but this setting, it's not that. So it just feels a bit, I don't know. It's like it's like being on a telephone conversation with somebody, but anybody can just, you know, pick up a phone somewhere and join in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like having a meeting in a park, isn't it? But like not in a park anywhere, because I feel like if you did it in somewhere like Cardiff, meeting in a park is like having a private conversation because nobody talks to each other. Whereas if we met in a park in Llandovery, we wouldn't get very far through the conversation before somebody would be like, "Oh, Pete, how you doing?"
Yeah, no, that's true. It's interesting. I wonder what the etiquette of this place has become. Like, does it match the real world in that sense? Do people wander over and just start talking to you? Like, how often does that happen?
Yeah, because like I've probably been in here for a total of 3 hours so far, and that's the first stranger interaction I've had.
Okay.
But I mean, I've literally only been on this island and nobody's shown up. Like, that's part of the reason I like this island, is because I was like, wow, there's nobody here. I'm not getting hassled. Brilliant.
She was doing a specific thing as well, in going around people who were coming into the entrance of the game and, you know, seeing if they know what they're doing.
It's a job for her, obviously, isn't it? I don't know what the economics of it were. I felt it was a bit rude to ask, but yeah, it's totally like, yeah, that's what she was about. But it's mad. Part of me wants to kind of go and explore this world, but part of me wants to just sit on this fire bit all the time instead and just ignore it.
I'm very tempted at some point I will go and have a wander around and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
But I'm just fascinated with the fact that it seems like a much better way to have a conversation.
That's my interest in this, and it's very typical of me. If you give me something, like if you give me if you give me a toy, I'm the one playing with the box, you know. But like, yeah, just this is a lot for me right now. If the island was it, and you could just make a private room in the island and invite other people, that would keep me amused for a little while. Yeah.
It seems a better conversation way to have conversation than any of the, you know, the conference call apps that I've used so far. Anyway,
I think it is, and obviously it's just awkward to get in because you've got to make an account and download a bit of software, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess you've got to do that for Zoom as well, anyway.
We're thinking about what she was saying earlier about the actual Second Life itself. It's kind of the original microtransaction software, isn't it?
It's definitely doing that stuff, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know what the history of previous ones are, but totally, its own currency and things, yeah.
I'm talking about the idea of, you know, wanting to get currency, you've either got to work for it in-game, I guess, or bring your own real-world money into it.
Or the other thing as well, people make 3D models and sell them. I think there's a big industry in making new hats, making new clothes, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. So yeah, it is. I mean, it is just basically all microtransactions. But that is a replication of the real world, isn't it? Because that's what the real world is.
Yeah, I feel like that's it. There's only so long you can talk about this platform before saying, oh, but that's just like the real world. Like, it's a very interesting simulation in that sense. And I think that's why it's not more interesting, but why it's significantly different from video games. Because video games, brilliant that they are, have got this linear kind of progression thing going on. Whereas the point of this game is like, it's just like, which is a brilliant goal for a game. Just fuck about and see what happens. And yeah, what happens is people make sex clubs, people make nightclubs, and people set up shops. It's got all these like.
Has it really just like? Has it matched the real world in that sense? How similar or different the actions people decide to spend time and money on in game match up or don't match up to, you know, their choices in the real world?
I think
because I'm sure there's probably there'll be a lot of stuff here that's missing from the real world. Because I'm sure there aren't people pretending to be sewage workers.
Pretending to be what?
Pretending to be sewage workers, because there's no need for it.
I mean, this was the joke on The American Office. There's a character in The American Office that role plays as somebody who works as a paper office in Second Life. And, I don't know, I reckon there's people who might be doing that stuff. The majority of people who play truck driving simulators are truck drivers.
Really?
Yeah, which is nuts, right? Completely insane.
Firstly, who found out that information? And is that actually true?
Apparently
Is that
so.
genuine?
I've read that in an article, Pete, so it's as true as journalism.
Yep, no, that's fair.
I'll be honest about that. Yeah, so I don't know. Some people do want to simulate, really mundane things, I guess. I mean, in a way, that's what I've done here now. I've simulated having a conversation. We could be we could be having laser battles right now. We could be racing each other on Trackmania. But yeah, we're sat by a fire chatting shit, which is, I guess, our favourite thing to do, really, isn't it? I'm gonna have to shoot off because I'm nipping out the chemist. But this is really, really lovely.
So I like it as a concept. I think it's got potential.
Do you fancy doing some more with me at some point?
I think we could probably make a business out of this. I don't know if anyone's thought of it. Yeah, no worries.
Also, do you mind if I put a little edited version of this up on the internet just as a proof of concept?
Yeah, no worries.
Awesome.
I mean, you edit it.
I'm obviously going to edit it to make you look as racist as possible, but
I thought so.
yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay, no, cool. I'll catch you soon, man.
Well,
Let me know about the.
Thank you for doing this, man. This has been really sweet.
Yeah, no worries. It's been good.
Yeah.
Let me know about the book. Send me the info about it, and I'll.
Yes.
Because that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'll send you the bits for it tonight, and then sweet, nice one. See you later.
Later.